There we go. Let's go live, everyone. How are we doing today? DTM here. Welcome to the Wednesday live stream. Oh my gosh, so much stuff happens during the week that we must start one of these days with some art. And today's the day. Big ups to Hughes and Tones hanging out in the Twitch chat. Appreciate you. Good to see you, Aaron. And check the links in the description of the video for those of you who want to know more about Aaron's artwork. They do a stream every Monday evening, and you can join them and check it out. Check out the work that we're working on. And I say we because we're working on a project together. The super collaboration. That is awesome and amazing. And that's next on my list. So for the rest of this month, I'm going to be working on the silver calibration and on some traditional materials. I got my materials ready to go. Some Koh Nor. How do I even say that? I forget. Grumbacker, add markers, and some Borden and Riley papers, along with some Molotov line art black liners and some double-ended alcohol markers by Spectra, aka AD markers. Oh my gosh, this is super awesome. And so I have a lot of art that I'm planning to do traditionally to break up the monotony, and I have a few pencils. These are all sent to me by Chart Pack. I got a few different pencils here to play with, including another Spectra marker right here. This is a black Spectra marker, and this one is a metallic silver. I think it's silver. Oh, the original. Yeah, chrome. It's chrome, liquid chrome. So I'm pretty excited to try out some of these, including another Molotov one for all. And all for one, one for all. All right. So, what are we here to do today besides drinking coffee and saying hello to all our family and friends and the people we like to hang out with? I know my sugar's around here. Got a little bit of sugar. Okay, so I gotta give you an update on the animation so far, and I think I am done. I'm done with the hand drawing parts. It took a long time. It took longer than I expected. I gave myself a month, and I had to take a break from the comic book that I was working on, so I can work on this animation because I'm planning some AR VR, and I wanted to see if I can knock out an animation in 1 month, and it took me. What are we now? Second week. So it took me 6 weeks. 6 weeks to get to this point, and of course, it's not a full time job animating. It's more like I'm a free time. So we got to take that into account. That I'm probably won't take me as long if I invested more time on it. So let's take a look. Let's go look at it. And you let me know what you think. Let's see. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. And I want to make sure some of my windows are taken care of here. Mm-mm-mm. All right. So this is Adobe Illustrator. We don't want to see that just yet. And I have so I have two parts that I want to talk about. Let me see. This is the Daniel Anima, and then let me go open a file. It's Azteca Moderno right here, and oh, I didn't put the AI file in here. Where is it? Cancel. Is it this one? I thought I made two. Well, let's open that up. Let's see what it looks like. I don't think this is the one. No, it's not here. It's on a different computer. Oh, I thought I had it here. These are MP4 files. Yep. No Illustrator files. Okay. Well, that's fine. And I have a video that I need to move in here. Anyways, okay, so here we go. Okay, which is this will show you too. So here, let's look at the process. So I have a 5 minute process that I'm gonna share with you how it went down. What happened here? How did we do this? It's crazy. It's insane. It's time consuming and it's fun. It's definitely fun. And so in this 5 minutes, I'm gonna show you the whole process, everything that went down with this animation. I'm gonna show you two videos. It's gonna I'm gonna while I explain the process, and I'm gonna run out of words, and the process is still going, and that's because eventually it's just same if steps to get through the whole animation. The steps there's a number of steps, and eventually you just keep repeating those steps. Hey up, Dan and Aaron says Jane Bradbury. I'm at my desk today, but falling asleep. Oh, it's nap time. I want to ask people who drink tea this question because I drink coffee all day, and a cup here or there, and is that and every time I watch shows, TV shows about English people, they always had this thing where they ask each other if they want to drink a if they want to sip they want to if they want a cup of tea, and uh and that's how we do. Like, do you want some coffee? Like when people come over, you offer water or coffee if you're an adult. And I keep seeing that on for the tea thing. So coffee is not as um customary as it is to have tea. Yeah, so I know about tea, says the Jane. So is that was my is my perception about how English people drink tea that we do coffee. Like there's coffee shops all over the place in America. The Jane says we say we put the kettle on, put the kettle because you want tea. So it's a very common thing to drink tea during the day. Does it have caffeine? There's some. I guess there are some teas that have caffeine, right? Anyways, I'm glad you're here, and let's see what your answer is. Hey, Prapurva, how you doing? I'm about to go over my animation. Welcome to the stream. All right, so here we go. We're gonna start our animation, and this is gonna show you my process. Okay, it's gonna show you the process from beginning to end with this animation, and I'm just gonna describe it as we run through it. All right, here we go. Boom. So originally, I have a sticker, and that was the design that you saw in the beginning. And what I want is for someone to pick up a copy of the sticker in their hand and then grab their phone and then see the animation pop up, right? Like AR. And so the idea is for the character that's in the sticker to come to life. And at first I thought, okay, well, let's just make a simple animation. The character's walking across the screen, and that's it. And so so I started this, right, and I didn't follow my process. And what I did, I just started drawing the character, and I started drawing the poses, and eventually I got to a point where like the character just looked all busted, and it was very plain just to see him walking across the screen, right? And I said, nah, we need to have some dynamic movement. It's like it needs to be in your face. And I need to start with my steps process with the first step. I'm starting with the first step in my process, which is the skeleton. I need to see the figures do the move first. Get the action in with just the figure, with just the skeleton. And so that's why you saw the line work, the quick line work. And in my process of drawing in general is skeleton shapes or shapes and skeleton or maybe just the shapes, depends on the pose. And if I've done the pose a lot and I have a particular character, then I sometimes I skip all of that. I already know what I'm gonna draw and how I'm gonna draw it. But for this, because I wanted to hit certain action points, certain action poses, then I worked on the skeleton so that I could have um, see what the action looks like, make sure the anatomy matches up, make sure it looks natural, and hype, very hype. A lot of action. I wanted action, and so I started with skeleton, added some shapes, and along the way, I couldn't figure out like what's the gear gonna be, what kind of gear he's gonna wear. And because there's a lot of movement, it's an animation, you don't want to go all in on the drawing like you would on a comic book because or most of my illustrations, because that's a lot of detail that you have to continue through each of the frames of the animation to show this is that character. Making bits in the house. Welcome, welcome. Jane Bradbury says, I think this absolutely fabulous work. I couldn't have done it in a month of Sunday. Yes, it takes a long time. And that was the tedious part. I love to draw, I love to see animations, but the funnest, most fun part for me is the concept, the idea, working out what the action is going to be, and discovering what the character is going to look like. After that is the constant over and over and over and over. And so I have a method. I came out with a method, and this is all done in Adobe Fresco with the help of the Surface Pro. And you've seen some of the streams here. And my method with trying out Fresco is a difficult one because Fresco is not made for animation. It just has a few animation things in it. But it's for a piece like this that's very simple and tedious and time consuming. Fresco works. Fresco works. I was gonna figure out how can I make Fresco work for a frame by frame animation. And so the idea here, the process here was to use layers, start a layer, and work my way through the layers to the skeleton, the rough sketching, the anatomy, the gear, and then finally a clean outline. And once I had a clean outline, I had one frame with the one layer with the clean outline, and the frames to support the animation. So for each animation, there's a set of frames that live inside of one layer. And there's a tool on the bottom right that turns on your animation in Adobe Fresco. And so once you turn it on, you can create frames. And so I had all these frames of the character running, and that was fast. I think I talked too long. And then and so let's see a couple of things here. There we go. So here is the skeleton. There is dressing up the skeleton, very rough. But as I'm, and then once I established the design, I went in and made sure that all my skeletons and rough drawings had the same design. And then there goes a clean outline. And once I had the clean outline, and here's where I was talking about, you see this now. There's white, right? So what I do is, this is a great shortcut for working in an animation in Fresco for something simple. Nothing. We're not making a cartoon here. This is a few seconds, and I think I got like I want to say 18 seconds out of this. Um, the idea is to the process that you should follow is to draw your frames, your animation in one layer. Once you're happy with the outline, you duplicate that layer so that no matter how many frames are in the original layer, the duplicate layer also has the same amount of frames with the same amount of artwork. And what I did here is I copied, duplicated that outline frame with all the outline layer with all the frames in it, and one in the duplicated layer, I turned to white and I filled it in. I filled in the white. So now my outline has a white background and it follows the same body. I don't have to redraw it. I don't have to redraw it frame by frame. I just have to color it in frame by frame. Then I did that with the, let's see what was next. The shading. I started the shading. There goes the shading. There's some shading elements in here, some elements that are shaded. So I have two layers, each with the same amount of frames with the same artwork. One's the outline, one's the white background. I duplicated that outline layer again. So now I have three. And so I have the outline layer in the top. The middle layer now becomes the shading layer. And I turn down the opacity on that middle layer. And I start filling in some of the blocks so that I can have some shadows while I still have the white layer with all those frames at the bottom. And I kept going on and on. So you see, there goes the shading going on right there. And then I added a fourth layer. It's a duplicate again of the outline layer. And I did a little bit of harsh shadows. And I went and every time you create a new layer, you still have all the frames with all the artwork there, but now you have to go back and adjust each and every one. And I had 70 frames in each layer. And so here it goes. Then I duplicate that outline layer again, and now I have a layer for the um, colors. And I use the paint bucket, and I tap tap tap, and I start filling in my colors. You should have your colors worked out before you start coloring, because if you change your mind later, you have to go back through 70 frames to change those colors again, and I had to do that. I had to change colors. And then so there goes some highlights. There goes some color. Started the shoulders change colors. The legs change colors. I have to go back and recolor a lot. So I'm doing all the coloring here. And as I finish the coloring, then I'm working on some of the shadows and some of the details. I'm making sure that the closer the and less art the frame has, the more detail there is, because now you don't have to have all the legs and the arms and everything else. Boom, and so on. All right, so that's what that looked like, and that is and so the final animation. Oops, there we go. Move this out the way. Looks like this. Let's see. And I posted it on this is how long is this? I posted it on the Discord already. So that went up on the Discord yesterday. Okay, that is that. Come on. I should have had them ready. Okay, well these are gifts. I made some gifts minus the background. There go some gifts. Boom. So that's just the shading version and one color frame, because I did color one frame so I can figure out my colors. Some shading, and then with the white background and the blue background, no colors here. Let's see, the same. There goes the color. And so what I'm gonna do after this is generate the background so that it kind of matches the look and feel for what this is about. And that's why I have a GIF without a background. But this is all full color. This is the whole thing. Then I have a background, one with the background, full color. I just kept exporting different ones. I was like, let me try different things. All right. And so that's the animation. Here, this video shows you what I did to make a sticker. So now that I have the artwork, I want to make a sticker. And I need to find what happened to that file. Let me turn on this other computer, because I know I have this file. So this is crazy. This is super crazy. Is that I drew everything in vector. Okay, everything is drawn in vector. All right, let's take a look at the comments. The character consistency. I can't make my characters look the same in different poses. That is the super hard part, Jane. That is super hard. Fortunately, I was drawing myself, so it wasn't too hard. But yes, it's this is fabulous, says he's in tones, and Bacon Miss is the same. Yes, it's tough. And thank you, Aaron. I want to get into doing more animation stuff, but feel like I need to settle on one program to learn it, probably so I can do what I want to do without an imitation of the program. If that makes sense. Yes. In Bacon Biz, that's why I started with Fresco, because of the simplicity of the tools. This is really not made for this kind of animation. How long is my animation anyways? It's this is the 5 minute one, and then what were these? These are it doesn't say the time. Let me see here. This is 36, but it's 12 seconds. It's 12 seconds of animation what I made. And so, okay, that works for 12 seconds. But if you need to make a longer video and you need to show a lot more different effects and so on, yeah, that's it, 12 seconds right here. Then this is not the move. Fresco's not the move. But like you said, you gotta get used to a program. And so since Fresco, I'm very familiar with Fresco, and Fresco has the animation. Well, let me jump in here now and do an animation. Next animation is going to be in a different program, one that's really made for animation. I have two options. I have Clip Studio Paint and I have Tahoma 2D. And Tahoma 2D is an open source free animation program, and Clip Studio Paint is a subscription program. And if you in my Discord, you'll see when I post that there are free 3 months trials for Clip Studio Paint, so you can kind of get away with not paying for it. Just keep adding, submitting your info to get the free 3 months. Anyways, those are programs that are really made for animation, and they're gonna be a step up. But now I have this animation workflow worked out in my head that I can follow no matter what program I use. And that's what I needed to lock in. I needed to do this so that I can get to a point where I can feel comfortable like, yeah, okay, this is cool. I can do that. I can do an animation from beginning to end, plan it out, work on the layers, work on the frames, work on the effects and the ideas and so on, and I can go all the way through it with it. I have to run to do things. No worries, Hughes. Thank you for being here. So now, there are also on the iPad. There are other programs, including ToonSquid, Procreate Dreams, and Calipeg, and I have Calipeg on my Android tablet. So those are other animation programs that are a little step up from Fresco because they're made for animation, but they have very basic tools. And I tried those out also, and so I found that the one program that has the things that I want, because now I have a little experience with the animation process. Now I know what I'm looking for. What can help me with my drawing steps to make it simpler for me to get from one step to the other, and I need frame by frame with layers. I don't want layers with frame by frames. I want frame by frames with layers. And the more you do animation work, the more you understand what that means and why, and at least for your process. And so, ToonSquid is the app for that. And so, if I do another animation and I want to use the iPad, then ToonSquid is the tool. However, Tahoma 2D works on PCs. Clip Studio Paint works on all devices. So I can use Clip Studio Paint on my Surface, on my desktop, and on my iPad, even on the phone. And so that is a big advantage to a using a particular app that then gives you that flexibility to work from anywhere. So those are little things that I've been figuring out in my head little by little. All right, so here's what happened. The next step is going to be, of course, the ARVR. I already sent off some stickers, ordered some stickers. This is the project on Behance, and I made this as a sticker. So I wanted to order a sticker, and I needed one of the frames to be a flat image so that I can um and I clicked on something by mistake. Let me go here. And so I needed one of those images so that I can make a sticker. out of the frames, out of the full animation. I needed one part so that I can make a sticker. And so here I am, and I grabbed this frame, but it was not easy. How I did draw in vector. The whole thing is in vector, so that if I have to uh change the size on my canvas and change the artwork in it, I don't lose any clarity. I don't lose any sharpness. But that file that you get out of Fresco is not easily worked on with other programs. Photoshop can't handle it because Photoshop does not have the frame by frames within the layer itself. Photoshop has a frame by frame using the layers, and each frame is an individual layer. So you can't open a Fresco file in Photoshop and then think that it's gonna work out. You can not you can export this file, the Fresco file, to Illustrator because it's vector, and so that's what I did. However, here's what happened. It came in like this. It looks like a mess. This is a messy mess because it's Illustrator cannot read the individual frames of the animation, but it can see all of them inside of each layer as they are made in Fresco. So what I had to do, come on, I I um I had to open up the layers, and inside of each layer you can see the frames, and I had to turn off some frames to get to. So this is where we at. Look, I'm turning off some frames. I'm going through. Boom, there it is. So now I got my guy, and I named that frame 42, and that's the frame I want. And that frame lives in a layer. And now I have to go through all the layers and find each frame. And so there it goes. I saved it to my computer. Let me see, where is it? Oh, it's in stickers. That's in stickers. Okay, okay. Yes, there it is. Okay, I'm glad I recorded this whole process. Let me see, where is that? There it is here. DTM stickers. Why would I do that there? There it is. That's the AI. And it doesn't show you anything there. That's the sticker. And then that's the final sticker. There's the PDF. Oh, that's what happened. I exported from Fresco as a PDF file. Then I opened the PDF in Illustrator, and that's what it looks like. And so it's a mess. So I had to clean it up. And this is okay because it has all the data. And there goes all the layers. And as I open each layer, you can see I'm turning off some of these clipping groups to like till I work through all of the different layers to get to my frame that I want. And as you can see, I know my process, I know my frames, I know my layers, and so now I just gotta keep looking for it. I know where to go look, how far down a list of in the layers window. See, because look at all those layers right there, and I'm selecting. I'm turning on the eyeball to that one that I know I want. And so there it goes. What did I do? I saved. I changed the artboard so that I can then squeeze the whole character. And see, now I only have, and I deleted all the other frames. So I have several copies of the same file so that I can keep working on it and not worry about things that I don't need anymore. But I can always go back to a different file to get that if I want. And then I'm glad I recorded this because this is going on my video. I'm making a music video with all of this. So then I make sure that all the layers are on top of each other. And this is where I messed up. I should have. They're supposed to be offset, and I forgot about that part. But I made a couple different versions. So here we go. So I'm cleaning up, and then I made a duplicate. And with this duplicate, I can make some changes. And so I started to use a little bit of effects. Like you see that little red offset. I started to play around with it. Like, I wonder what could happen here. What would happen if I tried a few things? And then finally, and so I kept playing with that because right now at this point I'm working on the sticker design, and so that looks cool. So I need to do something with that too. Just the ideas. This is what's awesome about digital art is that you make it for one thing, but if you make the art a particular file type, then you can do other things. And I'm gonna tell you about the other things I'm gonna do with it. All right, here we go. And so I have two, and then what I when I started playing around with some of the layers, because I have the same layer repeated over and over and over, but with different effects, then I got a different look to it. I was like, oh, I kind of like that. So I started playing around with that. Then I had once I have the red and blue version, I said, well, let me make another one. And so I made. So I'm cleaning up some things. Oh yeah, I'm adding the D for the letter D, and making sure that some of these elements on the around the gear are proper. It has my signature there. I started to do a pencil there, and this is all only on the final sticker version. So then there's red and blue highlights on here, and then I made another copy. And once I made the other copy, then you can see the red and blue on the right, the cleanup version on the middle for the sticker, and the left side is the original that came out of the animation. These are vector. So now I can bring in this character over into my sticker design. I cleaned up, got rid of some of the it's not masking, but I forget what it's called. And I got rid of it because it's a pain to work with it sometimes. And so went back. I moved, adjusted some of the design elements for the sticker. Made sure my name was in there. I added a yellow background. I cleaned up some of the outlines, and then that was the sticker design. And what else do I want to make with this? I want to make a beer can design. I'm gonna make some I had an idea for it. I forgot. But because it's vector, I can do other things. Oh, the AR and the sticker. So all of it is gonna be one a part of a full collection of things that we can do with digital art at the end of making some art. And so some of it you'll see here on the Behance. Go visit my behance.net/, the creative genius. And it shows you, oh, current prepare this video for playback. Okay. Yeah, it's too long. It's 30 minutes long. I don't think it liked it. But here it is. There's some of the screenshots as I work through the layers in Adobe Fresco. This is the process. Like I said, the skeleton, the rough, a cleanup, some shadows, and then smooth shadows and some color. And here are the frame by frames because in Fresco, you can export all the frames individually as a PNG. And I said, I want it. And so there it is. These are all individual PNG. And I'm also gonna do some AI. I'm gonna make some AI too. That's it. That's the things. I have several things I want to make. Let me write that down. So beer can. We talking about. Oops. I didn't mean to do it that way. Um, what did it say? AR and generative AI. Okay. Character learn modeling with AI and background with AI. That's it. There you go. I wrote it down in the chat so that I can remember. Okay, so then here is one of the first videos. Boom. Yep, it was 10 seconds. That's what it worked out to. It repeats. Then the next one is let's see, can you get rid of this? This one's the GIF, so it's just gonna repeat anyway. Mm-hmm. Boom. It looks a little messy and dark when it starts. So hope it's okay. There it is. And then this is the first sticker that I made. And I have this sticker, but I don't like it because I reworked the colors. This is the one first set of colors that I did. I just throwing some colors in there so I can make a sticker. There goes the Mexican flag shield. Meeting time. See you later. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Jane. And then there's the actual sticker. So boom, there it is. The whole process from beginning to end and all the other elements that I do to it, I'm gonna add it here to the project. And so there, that's a nice little update for y'all. Thank you very much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate you. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. If you are in the Discord, then you'll see the animation and some of the work in progress in the work in progress channel. And so the next step is going to be to work on some more things. And I do have a long list of AI apps that I like working with. Look at all these. Oh my gosh, this is a lot. But I have a couple, and that I have a whole little list that I'm gonna I wrote it down and I have it saved. I have the link saved so that I can go through that process and train a learning model with my character art so I can get more animations out of this. So I did all the hard work now so that the AI can be my assistant and keep drawing and drawing, drawing some more. Thank you, Bacon Bits. Thank you, Jane. Aaron, I appreciate ya for coming through here and joining me on this update. I will stream more of my process on TikTok. And then next week, it's all traditional. Stay tuned for more cool things with AD markers and the rest of the Chart Pack family brands. I have this little sketchbook and I'm going to drawing it. That's what I want to do. I went and got Toon Squid. Gonna try it out this week if time permits. Do it, do it, do it. And let me know if you have any questions. There's a guy on YouTube. His name is Brad Colbo. He shares a lot of tips with Toon Squid, and then there's a ton of YouTube videos about it. And I like that Toon Squid supports layers inside of each frame, so that if I want to have the outline, the shadows, the highlights, the color, and the white background for the character, those are 5 layers inside of each frame, and I can build on the frame by frame, and just keep hopping on that frame by frame to get that to work on that particular layer versus having a layer that has the frame by frame in them. And that's my problem with Calipeg is that the frame supports one I forget how it goes. The layer supports the timeline. There's a weirdness about it, and I can't remember now, but I don't like it. I don't like it, and so yeah, there's gonna be some more animations in the future. All right, y'all. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. I am DTM Delta Tango Mike, and check out the links in the description of the video. Join us on Discord and say hello every now and then on the live streams. Until next time, catch you on the flip side. Peace out. Peace out, Bacon Bits.